A hard pill to swallow. You don't actually struggle with consistency. 2 in every 3 Americans are overweight. 1 in 3 qualifies for obesity. Look around you. I bet if you were to walk outside your house right now and look around you, you would see more people out of shape than in shape, which goes to show that people do know how to be consistent. A person does not become obese or overweight by eating a Big Mac and an entire pizza with a soda on the side in one single day. And if you want to do the Latino Hispanic version for all my people out there who are Hispanic, you don't become obese or overweight by eating 4 tacos and 4 tostadas in one single day with a big Pepsi on the side. Which, by the way, if you guys like soda here in the US, if you guys go to Mexico, I'm telling you right now, you're going to drink it as if it was water. That's how good it is. It is eating these type of foods repeatedly over a period of time that leads to your heart screaming for help and your body fat percentage being over 40. None of us actually struggle with consistency because we at least do 1 to 3 things every day repeatedly. If you're someone who wakes up in the morning and the first thing that you do is get your phone and start scrolling for 30 minutes, then you know how to be consistent. If you procrastinate every single day, then you know how to be consistent. The question is not why we struggle with consistency, but more so, why do we struggle with consistency on the right things, on the things that are good for us? Because if you aren't consistent with the right things, then that means that you're consistent with the wrong things, and that leads you to an undesirable future. The problem with struggling with consistency in the right things is that we never even see the goals coming to fruition. We're always stuck with what ifs, because right before we ever see the results or the fruits of our labor, we give up. This only leaves you with goals that you set for yourself that were never accomplished and a damaged self-esteem and low confidence. When you set a goal, you're basically making a commitment. You're promising to yourself that you're going to accomplish this goal no matter what happens. That's basically what a commitment is about, not giving up no matter how hard the road gets. But when you lack consistency along the way, you eventually end up giving up on the goal. And when you give up on this goal, you basically break that promise that you made to yourself. And the same thing that happens when someone breaks a promise to you is going to happen to you as well when you break the same promise that you made to yourself. When someone breaks a promise, you lose a little bit of trust in them, right? When you break a promise to yourself, the same thing happens. You lose trust in yourself, and self-confidence is basically you trusting in yourself, you trusting in your abilities, you trusting in what you say you're gonna do. And so when you lose this trust, you lower your confidence, you lower your self-esteem, because you start to build evidence that you can't do it. If you struggle with consistency on the right things, then that means that you're hurting one, if not all 4 of the areas of the fulfilled life: health, wealth, connections, and happiness. If you lack consistency in your health by not eating right and by not working out, then you're not gonna like the way you look in the mirror because you're gonna be out of shape. If you lack consistency in your wealth by not investing or by not saving money, then you're gonna be broke and you're gonna be living paycheck to paycheck. If you struggle with consistency in your connections area in life by not strengthening your connections in your family life, in your love life, in your friendships, then you're gonna be lonely. All of this leads you to living an unhappy and unfulfilled life, and none of us want that. There are a couple of reasons why people struggle with consistency, but here are the top 3 reasons why most people struggle with consistency in the right things. 1 is they're easier to do, but also easier not to do. It is easy to jog for 30 minutes, to lift weights for 30 minutes, or to wake up 10 minutes earlier, but it is also easy to lay on the couch and watch TV or to just sleep in for extra 30 minutes. One thing we gotta understand about ourselves is that us humans are wired for comfort. Unless we are given a strong reason to do otherwise, we would choose the path of least resistance all the time. You might also think that it's not easy to lift weights that are heavy or to go to the park to jog 6 miles, but that's another problem that a lot of people face because they make a huge mistake in the beginning when it comes to mastering consistency. They start way too big, way too fast. To master consistency, you first need to start a bit small so that you can build the foundation in the beginning, so that once you build the foundation in the beginning, then later on you can toughen and increase the intensity. But in the beginning, you can't expect yourself to do intense things when you haven't even done a fraction of that intense thing. Instead of running 6 miles when you haven't even ran that in your life, you probably are not even a runner, you first jog for a mile. Instead of lifting heavy weights, which you probably can't even lift because you're probably frail right now because you never lifted weights in your life, how about you start lifting lighter weights and get the form right? With how fast the world is evolving, how quick new inventions are coming out, new technology, AI, all these things that's advancing, it is easy to do something, but at the same time, it's never been easier to not do something. Number 2, the results are invisible at first. At first, success is not seen. At first, we think that the things that we're doing don't seem to add up to any amount of success because we literally do not see it. And that's the problem. The things that create success in the long term don't appear to have any impact in the short run. And so Since the results are too far into the future, we get discouraged and we easily give up. And the world that we're living in right now doesn't seem to help at all, because new tech is coming out, new advancements, AI, new inventions are coming out, new tools that make life a lot more easier. Mostly everything can be given to us at speeds not possible 100 years ago. You can order food right now and get it delivered to your house. You can go on social media and post a picture and instantly get likes and get bombarded with so much dopamine in your brain. You can go on the hub right now and get access to so many type of women that are naked. You couldn't even have access to the amount of women that you can have access to right now on your phone 100, 200 years ago. We have basically been conditioned to get so many things fast. Like with a click of a button, we can get almost everything. But that's not how it works in the real world when we're talking about real tangible results. I mean, you can't get a six-pack by a click of a button, nor can you get it after trying out six-pack ab workouts that you found on YouTube in one day. You can't become a millionaire in a month, no matter what any guru says. 3, your actions seem insignificant. You work out for an hour today and you don't see any changes. So you do the same thing tomorrow and you still don't see any changes. You start to follow this routine again the third day, the fourth day, and you still don't see any changes. So at this point, you're thinking, I'm done. This is a waste of time. This ties in with the second reason, because since you are not seeing any results, or at least any desirable results in your perspective, then you probably think that all the things that you're doing are insignificant. They're worthless. They are not adding any impact. And so you might as well not even continue, because at that point, you start to think in your brain that you're just wasting your time. The reason why we decided to practice these little bad habits without a care in the world is because we don't believe that it will destroy us today, nor do we believe that it's going to destroy us next week. And the fact is, it won't destroy you today, nor will it destroy you next week. If you eat pizza right now, you won't become obese tomorrow. If you eat a cheeseburger with fries, you won't get a heart attack tomorrow. It won't destroy us right now, but compounded over time, eventually it will. I used to be extremely skinny. Like, no joke, my arms were literally sticks and I literally had no type of muscle. And so I decided one day that I did not want to be built like a stick anymore. And so I started to lift more weights and eat a lot more as well. I don't know if it's the same for you guys. You guys let me know down below if it is. But for me, bulking seems to be a lot more harder than cutting, because it requires you to eat a lot more calories. And there's some days or sometimes where you don't even want to eat anymore. But since you're bulking, you have to still, let in some calories, because that's the only way that you're going to gain weight. And so I started to eat a lot more, but I still wasn't gaining weight. And so I decided that it was time to try a different strategy, because what I was doing was obviously not working, because I was still built like a stick. So instead of trying to eat a lot one day and then the next day eat a lot less, I started to become more consistent with eating a certain amount of calories every day. And then slowly over time, I started to compound the calories. I started to add more calories in my diet, and I also began to lift more weights, and over time I started to compound the weights as well, just the same way when it comes to the calories. And I also made sure that every single week on a Sunday in the morning, to this day I still do this, I weigh myself so that I could know if what I'm doing is working or not. Because just like anything, when you're trying to accomplish a goal, if you do not track it, then you're not gonna know what's working and what's not working, and you're never gonna make any progress. And now I have gained over 25 pounds. I still got more work to do, I'm not gonna lie, but I've made progress. And I did that progress by consistently eating a lot more and at the same time doing compounded lifts. You can try all the tricks that you wanna find online, but at the end of the day, the truth remains the same. If you are not consistent with what you're doing, you will not get any type of desirable results. I've read a lot of books when it comes to self-improvement, and all of them emphasize the importance of consistency, obviously in the right things, because we're all consistent, like I mentioned in the beginning. But the thing is that we need to make sure that we're consistent in the right things, so that over the long run we end up getting desirable results. When we commit to a goal, we are making promises to ourselves, and when we keep these promises by being consistent, we build confidence and we build self-esteem over time. There's this good quote by Alex Hormozy that says, don't build confidence, build evidence. Confidence comes as a result of evidence, not the other way around. When you are consistent in the right things, you are building evidence, and at the same time you are building your confidence. Being consistent in the right things will leave you at a desirable place in life, a place where you're happy that you're in and not depressed and miserable that you ended up at. Consistency in the right things plus time is the bridge between where you're at right now and where you want to be. Be consistent in your health and you will achieve your dream physique, and also you'll be healthy. Be consistent in your wealth and you will achieve financial freedom. Be consistent with your connections and you won't suffer with loneliness, which is also one of the top reasons why people are depressed and are also committing suicide nowadays. You'll be much happier and you'll be fulfilled in life, which is basically what we all want. The reason why you are inconsistent is because you haven't yet accepted and committed to these three truths when it comes to consistency. Once you accept these three truths as facts, you'll find it much more easier to be consistent, because you now know what will be the end result. 1. The actions are easier than you think. In the beginning, there is no foundation built, which is why when you go hard in the beginning, you burn out and crumble a lot more easier later on. It's one of the reasons why lottery winners can barely keep their wealth after 5 years of winning the lottery. They never had that foundation built in the beginning, and so when the large money came into their bank account from winning the lottery, they never knew the basics of keeping or building wealth, like saving money or investing it. So instead of doing that, they went all out with it, which is why 5 to 10 years later, they have nothing, or they're not even as rich as they used to be. To build the foundation in the beginning, you need to start small, and starting small is a lot more easier than people think. Reading 10 pages of a good book a day is easy. Working out for 30 minutes is easy. Doing deep work for 30 minutes is easy. Because these things are easiest to do, you are more likely to commit to it, because like I said in the beginning, right, we're wired for comfort, and so when we go in the beginning all out, this is uncomfortable, which is why since we build no foundation, we end up giving up later on. Just ask yourself this: would you rather commit to reading one book every week or just reading 10 pages of a book every day? Once you do the easy things, you'll build confidence and commitment, and soon enough, with the momentum that you have already built up, you're gonna end up eventually increasing the intensity. But at that point, when you increase the intensity, when you start working out for an hour and a half instead of 30 minutes, once you start reading more than 10 pages a day, once you get to that point, it will be a lot more easier to commit to because you built the foundation. Number 2, the results will be seen with the help of time. Stop focusing on the fact that you're not going to see any results right now, and start focusing on the fact that you're going to see results later on. When you focus on the fact that you're not going to see any results this week or next week, of course it's going to be a lot more easier to be discouraged and to eventually give up. But if you focus on the fact that you will start seeing results in a month or 2, it is a lot more easier to not get discouraged and to continue to keep on going. And notice how I said you'll start seeing results. Not that you'll get the results that you want in a month or 2, but that you will start seeing results. Because once you start seeing these results, you'll start noticing that what you're doing is actually working, that what you're doing is actually adding some sort of benefit, it's making some sort of impact. And that's basically what you want to see in the beginning, right? Because you won't see your desired results in a month or 2, but if you see at least some sort of progress, you're going to give yourself hope that what you're doing is working, and that if you continue to do it, you're going to eventually get to the desired result that you want. The problem is that a lot of people in the beginning, when they're starting to build a habit or committing to a goal, is that they have the wrong expectations. They expect to see massive results in a short period of time, not realizing that those massive results take time. They should instead focus on expecting to make incremental progress, but they don't want to do incremental progress. They want the results now, and because of that, they easily give up. If you start lifting weights today, you won't see any difference next week. But in a month or 2, you'll definitely start to see a difference. I mean, you're going to look at yourself in the mirror in a month or 2 after lifting consistently. You're going to be like, hold up. Who's that right there in the mirror? You're going to look at yourself and you're going to start seeing a bit of progress. And that's all you need. That's sufficient enough to see in order to keep on going. And that is only possible once you accept the fact that you will see the results you want as long as you remain consistent. Number 3, your actions compound, making them significant. The actions that you take now seem insignificant, but as time goes on, they lead to a certain result, which means that they were never insignificant to begin with. Doing ab exercise for 5 minutes for 5 days out of the week seems pointless, but over 1 to 3 months, if you also combine that with eating a lot more healthier, your abs are going to start to show. And so in the beginning, those 5 minutes of abs are not pointless because they eventually lead you to having the abs that you want. That makes those 5 minutes of abs significant if we look at it from a larger time horizon. Doing deep work for 30 minutes seems insignificant because you're going to think that you can't get anything done, any significant done in 30 minutes. But if you start doing this by building momentum, and then you start getting to an hour, and then you start getting to an hour and a half, and then 2 hours, and then 2 hours and a half, and then eventually when you get to 4 hours of deep work without interruptions, without getting distracted, you're gonna then realize that those 30 minutes in the beginning were not insignificant, because those 30 minutes were what led you to eventually get to 4 hours of deep work without getting distracted. What you do now is significant. The reason why you are where you're at in life right now is because you have followed the routines, you have practiced the habits that you didn't think made any big difference, that over a long term actually did make the biggest difference, and is the reason why you have this result that you have in life. Just look at any person who is in an undesirable place in life right now. Most of the time it is because the person thought that those daily actions, those daily habits meant nothing, when in reality made all the difference. They caused everything. One last thing I want to point out is the importance of time in this equation. If you consistently act on the right things, time is going to be your ally, and as time goes on, you're going to start making improvements, and they're going to be inevitable. You're going to see them. For many people, time is their enemy. Every single day they're doing things that are not beneficial to them, that is only harming their future self. Later on, in a couple of months or in a couple of years, they're going to be in an undesirable place, and they're going to be there standing wondering where it all went wrong, when in reality it was the things that they did daily where they went wrong. You see, the thing that we don't realize is that time is what multiplies what we do and creates the results that we get later on. Back in the days, our ancestors knew how to bear fruit. They knew that they needed to plant, cultivate and harvest. But nowadays, in a world full of click and you get this, instant results, instant gratification, we expect to only plant and harvest. We're not realizing that we are missing the key ingredient of the recipe, which is cultivating. And cultivation happens over time. When you plant something, you cultivate it by watering it consistently. Basically, you start taking action consistently, and then you let time do its thing, and then eventually you end up harvesting it. You can't expect to water the plant today, like take action today, and then expect to have the plant grow into its full form tomorrow. You can't basically expect to get desirable results tomorrow. That takes time. Consistently repeated actions plus time equals irrefutable results. Now, those irrefutable results that you get depends on the type of actions that you take right now. But anyways, that's all I gotta say. I'm out.